Welcome to the June 2024 edition of Robert Reads. And for the month of June, we're going to be taking a look at the work of John Masefield, English poet. John Masefield was a prominent figure in British literature. He left his mark principally in the genre of poetry, but was also the author of several novels and even children's literature. We'll take a look at his fascinating life, starting with his experiences at sea, which would become a defining theme in his work. Now, he was born in Ledbury, England in 1878, and after a brief stint at boarding school, his yearning for adventure took hold. He felt a strong pull towards the sea, a calling that would shape his future as well as his writing. It all started after a very unhappy education at the King's School in Warwick, now known as the Warwick School, where he was a boarder between 1888 and 1891. Um, he left the school and decided to take board on the HMS Conway, a shipping sailing ship, and he did it to train for life at sea, and ironically to break his addiction to reading, of which his aunt thought little of. She just felt he had to have a solid career experience rather than reading so many books. He spent several years aboard this ship and found that he could spend much of his time reading and writing. Uh, so it didn't really break his addiction to reading. If anything, it filled it. Um, anyway, it was aboard the Conway that Masefield's love of storytelling grew. And while he was on the ship, he listened to the stories about sea lore and continued to read, and decided he wanted to become a writer and a storyteller himself. He gives an account of life aboard the Conway in a book that he wrote called New Chum, worth reading if you get the opportunity. Now, he just didn't just dream of the sea, he clearly lived it, and he served as a cabin boy on several merchant ships, so one that actually eventually took him to Chile. But at one point, he found this life frustrating when all the harsh realities of the life at sea that entailed this life along on aboard a merchant ship. And his journey took an unexpected turn when he jumped ship in New York City, and no prospect of employment and money. He was encountering poverty and hardship. He turned to writing poetry. He found solace and inspiration in the very sea that had shaped his life. Now, Masefield's poems resonated with a lot of readers once they were published. His first collection, Saltwater Ballads, was published in 1902, and it included the poem that we're going to be reading today, Sea Fever. Now, this success launched him into the literary world, and his talent and dedication were further recognized when he was appointed poet laureate in England in 1930, a very prestigious position that pretty much solidified his place as a major figure in British literature. And then again, as I noted before, he was a little bit more versatile. He wasn't just a one-trick pony. While the sea remained a source of inspiration throughout his career, he ventured beyond it, and he explored narrative poems such as The Everlasting Mercy, and he also captivated younger readers with his children's novels, including The Midnight Folk and the very fantastical The Box of Delights. His work has stood the test of time. His poems, novels, and children's stories continue to be enjoyed by readers, and his influence on British literature is undeniable. His life story serves as an inspiration to aspiring writers everywhere, from the salty spray of the sea to the fantastical realms of children's fiction. His legacy is storytelling is well established. Sea Fever by John Masefield is probably his most popular and well-known work, quoted often in other media, films, literature. Um, I won't say too much other than that. What I find important about it is that it uses very simple, accessible yet very powerful language, and it captures the universal human desire for adventure and the allure of the unknown, as well as a lot of imagery that goes along with this poem. Anyway, Sea Fever by John Masefield. I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky, and all I ask is a tall ship, and a star to steer her by. And the wheels kick, and the wind song, and the white sails shaking, and a gray mist on the sea's face, and a gray dawn breaking. I must go down to the seas again for the call of the running tide. There's a wild call and a clear call that may not be denied. And all I ask is a windy day with the white clouds flying, and the flung spray and the blown spume, and the seagulls crying. I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the gull's way and the whale's way, where the wind's like a wetted knife. And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trip over. Sea Fever by John Masefield.
Well, that's a wrap for June 2024 edition of Robert Reads, where we looked at the life and work of John Masefield and a recitation of his great poem, Sea Fever. What's coming up under spoken word poetry? Well, we've got an event on June 15th in Asbury Park as part of the See Here Now Festival. We'll be doing an exploration of supernatural poetry by William Butler Yeats, Aleister Crowley, and Edgar Allan Poe. That'll be at the Paranormal Bookstore on Cookman Avenue. The start time is 4 o'clock. We'll see you then or next time on Spoken Word Poetry. Thanks.